Hey cats, it's your midsole man, EDDBUD here. I noticed recently that the brand new Asics Metaspeed series have launched. I've been lucky to test out both of them this time round, the Metaspeed Sky Tokyo and the Metaspeed Edge Tokyo. But which one should you buy? Out of the two models, how can you possibly decide? I shall try and make things a bit easier. Thanks for tuning in, people. It is always appreciated. Do hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet, so you're informed of new content when I launch it. Also give this video a thumbs up like and drop us a comment to help with the algorithm. I just want to make it very clear that Asics did send me both of these for review. Like a pair, they didn't just send me one of each. That would have been a bit
weird, wouldn't it?
But they're not paying me to make this video, nor will they get to vet my views before you, my valued viewers, get to see them. So those new Metaspeed series shoes have launched from Asics. I believe you can get them now pretty much everywhere in the UK at least. I've traditionally always favoured the Sky model, so that's the one that has the flatter plate. I think it's intended for those who kind of lengthen their stride as they get faster, and then the Edge is like the more traditional carbon plate type shoe where you've got that sort of curved spoon-like section in the forefoot, and that plate ends up being much closer to the ground and you have more foam above it, so it kind of creates like a lever of sorts. So Sky for those who have a longer stride when they're running faster, and the Edge for those who pretty much just increase their cadence, so that's the steps per minute as you were. Now I do increase the cadence a little bit as well as extending out my stride somewhat, but until recently I've always favoured the Metaspeed Sky version of the two shoes. But this time round I think there's a bit more to it. So if you favour softness in your super race shoe, then the Sky Tokyo could be a better option this time round. I think it's very much down to the foam placement in these two shoes this time round. I think that's a bit more indicative of how Asics see people running in these two now. The slightly more resilient Flight Foam Turbo Plus in the heel section of the Edge this time round might be better if you heel strike. The reason I say that is because it's just a little bit more durable than the very soft Flight Foam Leap that we predominantly have on the underside of the Sky Tokyo. I think it's intended that this slightly denser, and I say slightly, it's not an awful lot in it, stabilizes the ride as you come down and land on your foot, and then as you go through the mid to forefoot, you've got that more like rocker type sensation. It's a lot more curved here. You can feel it, in fact, on toe off. I mean, that Flight Foam Leap is very lively, it's soft, it's very compressive, it returns to form very quickly, but I feel that the Edge Tokyo really wants you to go through the whole section of the midsole here, right from the heel through to the forefoot. It just feels like it really wants you to go through that transition, whereas the Sky Tokyo doesn't feel like that to me. So the Sky Tokyo has got that thinner section of the Flight Foam Turbo Plus directly under your foot, and you can kind of feel the plate a little bit more, like it's closer to your foot. It's very apparent. This for me works better if you're landing mid to forefoot. If you really lift your knees and then come down onto that midsole with lots and lots of force, that's how you get the best out of this shoe. It then acts pretty much like a trampoline. It's a little bit like an amplified version of what you had in the Sky Paris from last time out. I think the intention here is that where people increase their stride length, you've got something a little bit softer positioned underneath the foot. I mean, if you do that, you are perhaps a little bit more prone to overstriding, where you land a little bit further from your center of gravity. I think the idea is that the softer Flight Foam Leap material here is going to absorb the impact of those landings, just help cushion those sort of longer strides. I can't stress enough that the difference between these two models becomes much more apparent when running at pace. It's much clearer there where you hit like marathon or half marathon pace or even higher. It becomes very apparent. The Edge Tokyo very much wants you to push through on toe off, and the Sky Tokyo just lets you bounce through that transition. It's certainly a more flattering ride when you land mid to forefoot in this shoe. I found if you land in the heel too much, it does kind of almost absorb the energy you're putting in. It's still very bouncy and a mid to forefoot landing. And I have to say, I have experienced that if you like that rocker sort of feel in your race shoe, then the Edge Tokyo is a better option. It feels a bit jarring, in fact, if you try to raise your knee up and try to stride through with this shoe. shoe. It loves it when you run with a shorter stride and a much faster cadence. It feels almost effortless then. But I can't help but feel with the amplified section of Flight Foam Leap here, it's just so soft. For many people, I think they're going to struggle with that a little bit. I mean, it's very compressive, but sometimes too soft is just too much. That's why I feel quite a lot of people are going to opt for the Edge Tokyo this time round if they get a chance to try the shoes out. I know Tim Gross has picked up a pair of the Edge Tokyo. I think my good buddy Rob Gundry's picked up a pair of the Sky Tokyo. What I might try and do is get them together at some point and get their views on how they find the shoes. Upper and outsole wise, the shoes are almost identical. Well, they are in the upper, it's pretty much the same. Outsole wise, there are very subtle changes here. A little bit in the forefoot here. We've got this cutout in the Sky Tokyo, and there's no cutout in the heel, but there is here in the Edge Tokyo. The rubber's the same. It behaves exactly the same. It feels really sticky in warm weather, I think you'll find. The foams here are coming in at like Short A 18 and like 21 for the Flight Foam Turbo Plus section. They're super soft, compressive formulas, but it does show that there are quite significant differences between the ATPU formulas that a lot of the brands are using now. I think that's what Flight Foam Leap is. You're not going to see extreme durability from that foam. It just isn't going to happen. It's very, very soft. When I picked these two shoes up to do today's review, I found that I had loads of thorns and little bits of debris stuck in the foam here. Certainly worse on the Sky Tokyo. It is very soft back here. Not quite so much of a problem, but you still get thorns stuck in here. This might be a little bit more durable, but there's not a lot in it. Kind of brings me on to the Metaspeed Ray. Where's that going to stand in all of this? That shoe is considerably lighter than both of these, so I think Asics will do lower numbers of these shoes. There won't be as many pairs. I believe they're positioning that one very much at the elite runners. If it's full of Flight Foam Leap in the midsole, I'm telling you now, it's going to be super soft. Not everybody will be able to race a full marathon or something in that foam. If you're like an elite or sub-elite or something and you're looking for the lightest shoe possible with loads of cushion, then that could be a good option. I think they're very much positioning that one as a competitor to the Pro Evo 1 or 2. I think it's going to be like 265 quid as well. 129 grams, so the sample size is nothing. I think it's very much just so that their top level athletes can tool up and utilize the best that they've got in the Asics range in terms of like performance and quality. It's going to be up there with the Adidas and Puma offerings. Now, I wouldn't want to bet against Puma having something up their sleeve. Maybe they're working on something that's a little bit like the Fast R3, you know, their Nitro Elite formula. Perhaps they're trying to make it a little bit softer, trying to bring the weight down a little bit so it's comparable with the Asics and the Adidas shoes. I mean, they've got a great tool with the Fast R3, and you know that the big cats don't rest on their laurels. So I think if it's down to like durability, then you might want to go with the Edge Tokyo. If you want all-out softness, then definitely go with the Sky Tokyo. Will you be picking up a pair of one of these? Do you have your eyes on other models perhaps, or you've got other pairs to burn through first? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. Very quick musical interlude for you. I don't know what it is, but when the summer comes around and it's nice and warm out there's a little bit of a breeze, it always reminds me of Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Cult classic film, that one. And of course you've got the fantastic musical section in the film with the Beatles' Twist and Shout. What a tune. The song never fails to bring a smile to my face. Even if you're really low on energy, you've had a particularly testing week, you hear the opening chords to that one and you'll get up on your feet and start moving around and everything feels a little bit better. Insane vocal performances as well on that track. I mean, John Lennon's voice is absolutely shredded. I think that was the last track that they recorded for the album that it appeared on, and by then poor old John was, you know, he's in a bit of trouble there. No amounts of Fisherman's Friends or Strepsils would have saved him, I don't think. But the way it's incorporated into the film, it always brings a smile to my face. In fact, I might have to watch that film later on. It's that type of day today. Go and check it out, people. You've probably heard it a million times, but it's worth listening to again. Twist and Shout by the Beatles. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I hope I answered a few questions on these two shoes. I've received so many comments and questions on it. I've had to do something, right? Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a comment as well to help fight that algorithm. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you.